Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is time for the Gnome Friends Dog Dies assembly video. Hey, so I'm using the brand new Gnome Friends Dog Dies along with the new Dog Faces stamp set. And I'm using this Candy Stripe and Sprinkles from Doodlebug as well. Okay, so first of all, I am going to be putting together some of these dogs. And all of the die cutting today was done with my anti-griffin Empress machine, working on a Stampin' Up! Pad, reverse tweezers, all the jazz. So I used American Crafts cardstock in various shades of brown and various shades of gray, black and pink. And you'll see that I also inked around the edges in Distress Ink and Hickory Smoke and Ground Espresso. Those are the two, colors I used. So I am just going to do some assembly now. This one, is my favorite dog, I have to say. Out of all the ones that I made, this is my fave. So as you can see, these go together so easily. Now we have the little collar that's cut from Pure Poppy cardstock from Paper Tray Ink, and then Recollections Gold Mirror cardstock for the little metal. But I've got to add my little legs on first. There we go. Now, obviously, you could skip the front legs and just have the little paws to hold things, certainly. Remember that these are made roughly the same size as the gnomes, so a lot of the things that go with the gnomes can go with the dogs as well, and you can give the dogs hats and whatever you want, okay? So now I am adding on this little furry ruff over top of the front legs. There we go, everything lines up. There we are. Now this little piece, that is to give like a forehead stripe, under the muzzle. You could use this on any of the different types of dogs that you want to make. It just depends if you want to have that, that look on your dog. So now I'm layering up the muzzles. There we go. You'll see that, I did use ink blending around each piece. I didn't show it this time. I showed it in the cats, but you get the gist. So there we go. Adding on my little black American Crafts nose. Now I'll add the darker brown on for the ears as well. Using Barely Art glue, kind of all the things that I normally do. There we go. And isn't that cute? My goodness. So cute, right? Now next, I'm just going to add on the little collar. So I cut the base layer out of Pure Poppy and then the collar itself out of Pure Poppy. And then I'm going to add the little metal on. That's that Recollections Gold Mirror cardstock. There we are. And isn't that cute? And then I'm going to add on the little collar. Get it into place. And isn't that cute? My goodness. I just think this dog is the cutest thing. Remember, you can make these dogs look like your dog from home, right? A lot of the different features you can, mix and match and give your dog that look of your dog. So there, and I've got just two little dot eyes. Remember, you could use black enamel dots for these eyes if you wanted. That'd be cute. Google eyes, all the things. Now I'm taking out a Sakura white Jelly Roll pen and a number 10 to add a little highlight, just to make it look a little bit more alive. And of course, some pink cheeks, like of course the dog would have pink cheeks, right? And some little freckles on the little dog, because why not? And there it is. Isn't that cute? Just think it's adorable. Oh, and a little nose highlight too, because, can't be remiss in that. Okay, so next I'm going to make a different dog. So cut it of American Crafts cardstock first and various shades of gray from American Crafts. And then this is Candy Stripe and Sprinkles from Doodlebug. So I'm mixing and matching some pattern and some solids. And you'll see that I did ink blend along the edges with that Hickory Smoke ink from Distress Ink, or Distress Ink in the Hickory Smoke. And now I'm going to put together this little face next. There we are. And I'll add on the ears as well, using my Barely Art glue and my reverse tweezers again. So I'm just kind of mixing, different shades. Remember, you could have like an all over the same color of dog if you wanted. If your dog is like just one uniform color, go for it. You can do it however you like. This is American Crafts pink cardstock, and I'm going to add that to the inside of the ears. There we are. And it lines up right with the head perfectly. And now I'm going to layer up the muzzle. And you'll notice that I'm using that candy stripe and sprinkles for the muzzle. And then this is a dark gray spot, and I'm going to give it a kind of an eye spot. Remember, you can do what you like. I'm just going to give this one a spot on his eye, because how cute is that? Right, getting that little muzzle stuck down. And next, I'm going to add on the little furry ruff next. Oh, and I realize, oops, I got to add on the legs first. You know, I leave my mistakes in just so you can see. So candy stripe and sprinkles again for the little legs. And the nice part about, inking the edges, it makes them stand out a bit from the background, right? Add on that little furry ruff again. And then we will add on the little collar. All these colors, I believe, I cut out of pure poppy cardstock and then this gold mirror cardstock from Recollections. You can use anything you want, right? And I'm going to stick down that adorable collar. There we go. And add the little bell, or not a bell, this is the little medal, or the little tag. And then I'm going to add on the two little paws over top, because why not? Remember, if you wanted to leave the front legs out and just use the paws to hold things, you could do that as well. I didn't do that with any of the dogs, though. I just did that with the cat. Here we are. Now, remember, there is that Gnome, what's it called? Gnome Friends Pet Add-ons Assembly video to check out as well coming up. And remember that your animals can be holding some of those items as well, right? Okay, so there I have, how cute is that? I used just little black dots for this one's eyes, adding on some pink cheeks with EK Success chalk, adding some highlights to the eyes, and some freckles, of course. How cute is that? And a little nose highlight as well. And then we will put on his head. And like I always say, you do you. Use what you have at home and make these guys however you like to make them. These are just suggestions, right? There's no right or wrong in crafting. And there it is. That's on an A2 size card front. Oops, and I'm just grabbing the other one so you can see what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to make another one here. So base layer cut out of American Crafts black cardstock, and then this is that candy stripe and sprinkles, kind of in a light gray. And you'll see that I ink blend around the edges again with that Hickory Smoke Distress ink. So I'm going to add on the ears. There we are. That's that candy stripe and sprinkles again. And isn't that cute? I don't know if you can hear, but my cat is snoring kind of over my shoulder. So if you hear like some snoring, that's not me, that's the cat. Okay, so next I'm going to add on the little body, same candy stripe and sprinkles. There we go, from Doodlebug. There. And we've got, I'm going to add a belly on this one. Remember, there's a belly you can add, right? And I'm going to add on the little front legs again, sort of lining it up over the belly. There we are. Now you could leave this without the little furry ruff under the neck or not. I'm going to add on the little paws as well. You could leave those off if you wanted, right? It's not a necessity, but you know, if you wanted to skip that part, you could. Now I'm going to add on the little furry ruff under the neck, but you could leave this off as well. The belly was cut from American Crafts darker gray cardstock. And then I'm going to trim the tail a little bit because I'm going to add this little fluffy tail on, right? And that's that same candy stripe and sprinkles. Oops. Realized that I didn't trim off enough. I'm going to have to do a little fix. There we go. Little dog surgery, right? And now I'm going to layer up the muzzles. There we are. Same thing, inked around the edges with that distress ink. I just think these little animal, these gnome friends are adorable. Super cute, fun for kids cards, fun for scrapbooking layouts. Would be adorable. Okay, I'm going to add that EK Success chalk on the cheeks. Adding the little highlights with my Sakura white Jelly Roll pen and a number 10. It's kind of my favorite size, right? And now I'm going to put together the little collar cut from Pure Poppy cardstock from Paper Tray Ink again. It's my favorite red. And then the little medal or the little tag, right? There we go. And then I'll add on that Pure Poppy little collar. There. And then I'm going to stamp using the dog faces with Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. And I'm just going to figure out, I'm going to add the little spots on first, just so I know where to line up the stamp. Now remember, you could leave these spots off. It's not a necessity, but it's pretty darn cute, right? So I'm going to add a couple of these spots as well. There, and remember, you don't have to put them where I put them. These were just kind of the suggested spots or places for the spots, right? Then I'm going to add one on his little back leg there. There. And then there's one on this front leg as well. Just got to slip it up under the ruff. You know, I always leave my mistakes in. Probably want to put the spots on first, but you know, what are you going to do? Okay, so I'm just going to line up where the muzzle's going to go and then where the eyes are going to go. And I'm just going to get it in place, and I'll stamp that in Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. Remember, don't press too hard. You don't want to flatten out your images. You want a crisp image. You don't want it to look kind of fatter in spots. That's what's great about a Misty. You can stamp it more than once. Now I'm taking, I'm going to add on my little muzzle here in a minute, but I'm taking out a Copic marker. And what color is that? It's a W2, I think. And remember, you want to be careful not to touch the edges because Versafine Clair Nocturne ink is not compatible with Copic markers. I do this because I like the Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. It's really sharp and it's a really nice dark black. That's why I use it. Otherwise, you could use like a dye ink that's Copic friendly. And then you could color over it with your Copic marker once it dries without a problem. But I wouldn't use an intricate stamped image and color with a Copic. That's just asking for trouble. This is just if you're going to tap in a little bit of color. It's okay. There. And now I am going to add on my muzzle. How cute is that? There we go. Adding it on with that Barely Art glue. Kind of overlapping the eyes a little bit. And there it is. Isn't that sweet? And then there's another one. Now remember, there's a tongue you can add. It'll line up with the little muzzle underneath. And there we go. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, be inspired by the team, the Jaded Blossom store, to get your hands on these products. And thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.